They're even now talking, mainstream is saying that we're going to see massive food shortages. Look what's happening in Australia, the floods. The floods are just still going. I mean, this rain is just still going. And of course, you know, we can't control the weather, they say. Yes, they can.
To bring in the oceanic rain, essentially we're drawing oceanic rain systems that exist over the oceans into geographic targets. The technology uses electromagnetics.
Technology relies on a signal that we're able to generate that triggers a response from atmospheric patterns. But we're able to utilize that signal sent in sequence to generate a incremental deviation in the flow path of these oceanic atmospheric rivers. So the source is the ocean, of course. The vapor, precipitable moisture flow is in the atmosphere. The winds drive this with the pressure systems adjusting the path of least resistance. But our technology is able to interface that and hack into it, if you like, and makes micro adjustments to allow deviations to occur in the flow pathways. And this is how we broke the drought in Australia in 2005. This is how we put out the fires of Victoria from Black Saturday in 2009. This is how we delivered rain in the desert in Saudi Arabia in 2007 and snow for the first time in history in 2004 in United Arab Emirates.
That's an Australian company that did all of that stuff. I played you the full video of it on the last report. You can go and look at that again. That's an Australian company that admits they control the weather. That's what they do. And they're saying now it's going to rain for 3 months. They're expecting this rain to continue for 3 months.
Above average rainfall is likely for northern and eastern Australia over the next 3 months. April is likely to be the wettest month for many regions. For March to May, high stream flows are expected at most forecast locations in the eastern mainland, with near median stream flows at many other locations.
This is destroying all the crops in Australia. This is destroying the bread basket, the food basket. I've got friends in Australia who are virtually self-sufficient, and they're now contacting me saying, our garden is destroyed. All of the food we grew is destroyed. Nothing will grow because it won't stop raining. The ground is waterlogged. Everything's been washed away. That's what's happening, folks. It's all part of the same plan, all to keep you distracted. And the floods are ridiculous, folks. Floods in Byron Bay. Never seen floods in Byron Bay. I've been going to Byron Bay for 50 years. I lived in Byron Bay. It never floods in Byron Bay. It's not in a flood zone. Yet now the entire main street is underwater.
On March 30th, Byron Bay locals have woken to find their town inundated by floodwaters from torrential rainfall that is set to cause more damage across northern New South Wales. Business and properties went underwater in the early hours of Wednesday morning after more than 250 millimeters of rain fell in 24 hours. A video shared to social media showed large parts of the town being flooded, and some residents have described the flooding as the worst they've seen. Mullumbimby, Tumbulgum, Karaki and Villanudgel have also been hit by flooding.
You know what brings this type of a situation about, folks? It's because they control the weather. I've been telling you they control the weather for years, and they do control the weather, and they admit it themselves. You can even go and look at government cloud seeding operations. I mean, they're very happy to admit it when they've done cloud seeding and it's been very good and we've brought rain and it's all kept you happy. They admit it. They admit it. They were admitting it 2 or 3 years ago on mainstream news like Channel 9 or Channel 7 News. They talked about cloud seeding. Now people, oh no, it couldn't be the government doing this. They can't control the weather. Yes, they can. They're talking about bringing in a digital currency as well. They're saying that this is a restructuring of the entire world financial system but using blockchain technology. Of course they're using blockchain technology, but not cryptocurrency. They're actually bringing in their own government digital currency so that every single transaction will be tracked. This is something I was warning the blockchain people about back in 2017, 2018. I was warning people that, you know, with all this crypto stuff you're doing and all this blockchain tech you're doing, it's all very well, but don't think the government isn't building an umbrella over the top. And they're quite happy to let you build your own prison, and then they're going to take it over. You know, we've seen a lot of that talk this weekend about how we need to eliminate government and how it's all going to be good because we're moving towards all of this digital stuff and all of this crypto, and it's all removing control from government and putting it in the hands of us, which is a good thing in many ways. But we've really got to look at what's happening with a lot of it as well, with the automation that's coming along, because with whatever plan that you've got, whatever idea that you've got that's going to be world-changing, whether it's going to be cryptocurrency, whether it's permaculture, whatever it is, if you haven't factored into your plan the reality that this world is run by a criminal Kakistokracy who are going to attempt to subvert and control everything you do, then it's going to fail right from the beginning. That's the problem. You know, and you look at this, this whole cryptocurrency thing, where it's going for financial freedom and all the stuff that it's bringing people. That's all very well, and it's all very good to have that to get us to this state of abundance. But again, you've got to understand that the world is run by criminals. We have this Kakistokracy which is running things. And thank you, Cynthia, for teaching this word at schools and universities now. If people don't understand what a Kakistokracy is, Kakistokracy is defined as governance by the worst elements of society who govern entirely in their own interests to the permanent detriment of all other classes. You know, it's not an elite, it's not even an oligarchy. That implies this powerful thing. It's not. It's the shit people. It's criminals who are running the world. Okay? And we need to factor that in with everything that we're doing here. We don't want to allow hubris to dictate our actions. You know, we look at all this cryptocurrency stuff, yeah, it's leading us to safety, but there's so many people who cannot see that there may be another option. There may be other people who are looking at this who wish to co-opt it, convert it, and lead it into the direction that they want. Like I said, there's all this talk of, yes, we're going to remove government. We're going to have no need for government. But what we're going to be doing is handing control over to AI. And I will allow AI to govern me even less than I want to allow a politician to govern me. And I've also said that crypto and all of these digital currencies are, I mean, they're good for a while. I've been using crypto. If it wasn't for crypto, I wouldn't have been able to get out of the shit that I ended up in Mexico when they closed my bank accounts and everything down. But again, it's a short window, and I think it's going to close by 2024, by the end of 2024. That's why I suggest you get into crypto and out of crypto by 2024. It's a good thing to invest in right now because of all this stuff that's going on, and I think the price is going to go right up. If you were to put some money into it, you'd probably get a good return. But again, you want to pull that out by the end of 2024, because soon you're going to need complete biometric ID in order to get online. This is now being introduced in South Africa. South Africa are bringing it in order to combat fraud, of course. Not to control you folks, just to combat fraud. It's to make it a safer world and a better world, of course. They're bringing in new biometric IDs. When you get a new SIM card for your phone, you're going to need to be registered biometrically in order to activate the SIM card. The SIM card, of course, will have all your biodata tied to the SIM card and, of course, tied to the phone number as well. That's the plan. So you're not going to be able to change phone numbers when you travel. I mean, every time I travel, if I've got a phone with me, which is very rarely, I'll get a SIM card when I get to Holland. I'll keep it active for a couple of weeks while I'm there, and then I'll throw it away. Same as when I go to the United States, if I need to do something like that, I'll get a SIM card for a phone, keep it active while I'm there, and then throw it away, get a new SIM card next time I go back. Well, now you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have biometric data attached to your SIM card. It's all going to be attached to your number, and it's going to be a permanent thing. South Africa, they're doing this, and you'll be saying, oh no, they'll never do it here. Of course they will, folks, because it's all part of the same system. The food shortages, fires, floods, natural disasters, of course they're calling them, but they're not natural at all. Plus, put up with all this biometric scanning and everything else they want to do, will disconnect from the system altogether. That's why, I mean, that's why you've only got a short window for your crypto. You really only got until 2024. Because after that, things are going to change. Be a hell of a time for the world, folks. Hell of a time for the world. You know, I know I don't like to be a harbinger of disaster or, you know, bearer of bad news or anything. I've tried to provide solutions right since the beginning. People will say, oh, you never provide solutions, Max. Actually, I do. I've provided solutions on every single show I've done because you are the solution. Change your perspective about what you are. Disconnect from the system. The system cannot function without the energy from the people. If people suddenly did the right thing and decided to step into their moral compass, we'd change the world in a day. The problem is no one's prepared to do that. No one's prepared to do the shadow work. You know, find out what your addictions are. Find out what it is that ties you to this system, because usually it's some sort of an addiction. Whether it's an addiction to anything, you know, drugs, sex, pornography, coffee, anything, cigarettes, whatever it is. What keeps you in the system? You like having those sleeping tablets at night, you like the television, you like the newspapers. What is it? What keeps you participating in this system? What, you like Uber, you like Amazon, what is it? And deprive yourself of that and just sit with it for a while. Remember what it means to be human. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have any of this stuff. You know, we used to have to do human things. We used to have to know our way around. We used to have to know how to read and write. We don't do any of those things anymore. It's time to reconnect with what it means to be human. And like I said, find your addictions. Find out what it is that you would be uncomfortable without. And see if it's something that's necessary in your life or whether it's just some addiction that you enjoy. If it's an addiction, try depriving yourself of it and just see how you go. See how it changes things. Put yourself in that state of discomfort and sit with it for a while. Voila. And just sit with it for a while and see how you go with it. See how it makes you feel. Do the shadow work, folks. Find out the things that you are uncomfortable about within yourself and sit with them for a while and figure them out. Get to know yourself. Now's the time to do it. I mean, once people do that and they discover the value of themselves and the truth of themselves and they develop some form of love for themselves, they simply won't allow this. They won't capitulate, they won't comply, they just won't allow it to happen. I mean, that's the key. The key is in doing the shadow work yourself, folks. This is something I discovered while I was away. I mean, like I said on the last report, it was so good to be able to just disconnect from the system for 3 weeks. And I was kind of forced to do it. And it was really good. A lot of growth happened in those 3 weeks, folks. A lot of growth, and I think now's the time for people to do that. You know, all this surveillance state and everything that's coming about, it's all being AI driven. The whole thing's been AI driven. There was a meeting with I think either the World Economic Forum or the European Union or something like that, where they spoke about the new digital financial system they want to usher in. Pretty scary stuff, but everything that I've been saying for the last 5 years that I've been warning people about.
And the title of this session, are we ready for a new world order?
I remember talking to an Australian diplomat at one point about this break between the US and China and said, you know, both sides are going to say, whose team are you on? And he said, our job is to make sure the question never arises. But the question has arisen. And so I think we have to go deeper. And it's not about the US versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private. But what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Because that's the only measure of whether a world order really serves.
You know, the digital restructuring of the money system. And like I said, what people aren't seeing is the way our relationship with the internet is going to change as AI becomes more alive, becomes more online. Yeah, artificial intelligence, well, autonomic intelligence. Autonomic virtual life is what we're creating with the internet. You know, the internet will become, it will have a form of self-awareness by the end of 2024. That isn't to say it will be conscious, it will have consciousness, because the internet can't ever have consciousness, but it can have self-awareness. You know, a fully autonomic, independent system of high intelligence and complete awareness of itself is a form of life, but it's not a form of consciousness, because in order to have consciousness, you need to have a physical body that feels pain, that feels real emotion, that feels love and hurt and all the things that go with it, all the things that makes you human, the incredibly complex array of emotions that we have. A computer may be able to intellectually comprehend those emotions, but it can never have empathy. It can never have a true consciousness or really be conscious of those emotions, because it has no physical body. It has no heart. It can't feel heartache. It can't feel bruising. It can't feel pain. It may have things, like I said, that register as a form of discomfort according to its digital parameters, you know, what it believes these things to be. But it can't ever have true conscious empathy, and that's the danger of it. You know, it will be incredibly efficient, incredibly intelligent, but it will rule our lives in a way that will not be beneficial for human growth. It'll be beneficial for the system, beneficial for the economic model, beneficial for what the AI believes its version of reality should be. But it won't be anything like being human. And that's the danger of it. But yeah, you know, where we're going, the AI control, you're going to have to disconnect, folks. Because when it gets to the point that you need biometrics in order to even activate your SIM card, that's how you're going to do it. That's how they're going to do it. If you even want to log online, and most people use their phones to log online. Most people, you know, they don't have home computers anymore. Even if you do have home computers, then, you know, just about anything you sign up for now, you've got to, they send an access code to your phone or whatever, you know. So they find a way of getting you to use these phones. And when you've got to have biometric data given out in order to even access the SIM card on your phone, well, you can see where this is going, folks. Apparently they've sent a note to my house in Australia now. The police have sent a note there last week saying that I need to give them a reason why they shouldn't cancel my shooter's license, because apparently I've claimed to be a sovereign citizen. What the fuck is a sovereign citizen? I've never claimed to be a sovereign citizen. What is a sovereign citizen? I mean, either you're sovereign or you're a citizen. You can't be both. So this is a little bit of a fallacious claim that I think they've made up. I would never have claimed to be something so stupid, something that doesn't exist, because there is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. So if you're watching, Mr. Police Officer, please do a little bit better than that. You're embarrassing yourself. And I'm surprised you gave me my shooter's license anyway. You've never let me pick up my guns. So yeah, what's the point of having the shooter's license, you know? I'm not even in Australia, but anyway. Yeah. But things are going to split in two. The human race is going to have to split in two. Like I said, you're going to have to disconnect completely which means you've got to get back in touch with your life skills. I mean, you want the solution, you want the answer, that's the answer. I mean, things are going to go their natural course now, folks. Be well prepared for what's happening. Like I said, I don't like to be the harbinger of doom. I don't like to be bringing bad information to people and scaring people, but as far as I can see, I mean, this is a hell of a time to be alive. This is history in the making, and humanity has been given an opportunity to reconnect with their humanity. So I think it's a good thing. I do. Some of the experiences I've heard from people who've had near-death experiences, even the experience of Jill Bolte Taylor when she lost the use of her left brain, and she became one with all that is. She became one with universal consciousness. Sure, you would maintain some form of individuality within that, but you'd be connected to that universal consciousness. If you are still aware of your individuality and not connected to universal consciousness when you die, perhaps you're already in a mainframe. Has anybody considered that? Different ways of looking at it, but that's what I mean. I think a lot of people are already in the mainframe because that's where their DNA is, and perhaps they can't ever die. Perhaps they get back into that situation where they realise they're on the mainframe at times, then they give them amnesia and put them back into reality. Who knows how it works? You think of that whole biblical concept of, in the end times, there will be people who pray for death, but death will not come.